spilling over. So that's the gratitude step. And then the fifth step is to release out into all of life this amazing, amazing realization that you had, so that all of life can and hurrah you and agree with you and support you. And then you let it be so. I release what I know is truth into all of life, knowing that all of life responds to my affirmation and comes into agreement with me as I say, and so it is. It's a beautiful thing. This prayer is a prayer of ritual. It's a sort of a dance. It's a dance of energy. It's an energy dance. And it changes, the steps change, you know, all the time, as any dance does. It's a song, and the song changes too, as it crescendos and diminuendos and does what it does, music. It's music, it's dance, it's energy, it's energy, it's energy. And it's energy alive, and it's energy pulsating, it's energy affirming, it is energy empowering, it is energy that knows itself to be more than human, it's gone cosmic. That's what our spiritual mind prayer treatment is. Any questions? So I would say to the newcomers to spiritual mind treatment, just make the endeavor, go along with doing the prayer according to the steps, and you always begin your prayer with, this prayer is for Tom, Sheila, Penelope, Mary. Or name yourself. This prayer is for. And then you speak the words of your prayer in the first person singular. Well, why would I be speaking in the first person singular for Penelope? Because there's only the one to speak the one word, and when that one spirit speaks its one word and releases it into its own law, it is done. It is accomplished. You, human you, you're not speaking the prayer at all. You're allowing spirit to speak the prayer through you. You're allowing spirit, the knower within you, to know through you. And the knower is what is speaking, and the knower is what is announcing, and the knower is what is saying it is so. So this prayer treatment is for Mary. I speak this prayer treatment in the first person singular because there is only the one to speak the one word, its word. When Spirit speaks its word and releases it into its law, it is done, it is accomplished. That's the way I begin that prayer. And then I say, this is what is known. This is what is known. And it's known in Mary. And why can I know it in Mary? Because there's only the one mind, one consciousness, and each one of us is a point of power in it. So what's known in one point of power is known in all points of power within the one. That's why I can think about my brother in Ireland, and the next thing a telephone call comes from my brother in Ireland. And when I say that, I'm thinking, well, that fellow hasn't been in touch with me for quite some time. That's about time he got in touch with his sister. Lo and behold, that's the way it works. And so it is. So I say, and this is what is known. I know right here and right now that I am, and the I am is the I am. Not me, the I am that's in all of us and everything. I know that I am open and receptive now to the good, the wonderful good of fullness and plenty prosperity across the board of life, prosperity of health, prosperity of wealth, prosperity of loving relationships, prosperity of creative expression. I know that that prosperous beingness is what I am already, and I am now ready to express it fully and allow the divine source of my being to have its way with me by expressing through me this fullness and this plenty of all good in every aspect of my life and living. That's what I'm knowing now. That's what I'm open to now. That's what I realize now is already mine to claim, to own, to say yes to. It's mine for the knowing, the receiving, and the saying yes to. And I say that yes now. Identify myself with the prosperous beingness of life itself. I am open now. The portal for me is open to enter into the kingdom of good, wherein all things, all good things are given to me, added unto me, because my mind is on the source, the provider of all good, the sustainer, the maintainer of all being. And I am now owning for myself my divine birthright, that I should have life, that I should have it in abundance, that I should know joy complete, and that I should experience the peace that passes understanding, that I should be what I am created to be, who I am created to be. Now, in this eternal now moment, I say yes. I say yes to the good that desires to express itself through me as prosperous life and prosperous living in every aspect of my life, showing up in that fullness, in that magnificence, in that plenty. And so I know for myself I always have plenty, and out of the plenty there's a divine surplus, and out of the divine surplus I have so much to share. All that Spirit is, all that Spirit has, is mine to express. And I do so in deep, deep gratitude, in the deep realization that I am indeed the beloved of the Creator of my being, the sustainer of my life, and the lover of my soul. So in that deep sense of gratitude, I allow the gift to be received and to be used for my good and the good of all of life. And so, thanking and praising and honoring and loving my source, I release this affirmed truth so that all of life, through its beautiful creative law, can respond to what I'm knowing, what I'm living, what I'm feeling, what I'm being right now. As I say, and so please see. But there's no way anyone can pray like that without a deep, intimate relationship with their source. So the whole thing is bringing us back to courting back the presence that is always courting us. Every spiritually awakened person says, court the presence, court the presence, court the presence. But we're never reminded that the presence is always courting us. And where things don't go quite so right is because we're not courting back, we're ignoring it. So that's why you're in class, for one thing and one thing alone, to deepen your connection with your source, to become a greater lover. That's all any class is about. To open us up wide enough to become greater lovers. Ernest Toll says that you cannot be a good practitioner unless you become a great lover. So in the beginning, the middle, and the end, it's all about love. And not love as the soppy, silly thing that we see in the screens, the abused thing, misused thing, misunderstood thing that we see on the screens. Oh, it's so much more than that. It's power, it's potency, it's strength, it's courage, it's unspeakable. There's no words to describe it, and it flows out of a humble mind, heart, and soul. And humility is poise. It's strength, it's power, and it's poise. And it's a poise that knows nothing of judgment. It's a poise that witnesses and observes without judgment. That's what humility is. And each one of us in this room is ready for all of that, or we wouldn't be here together tonight. We have all called each other together to make this journey and to have this adventure. This book, which you may or may not get to the part of this book. This book is a nucleus of power. It's a nucleus of power. And when you read a book, you go on an adventure. And when you finish the adventure, you are changed. You're changed. You're different. And I will guarantee every one of us in this room tonight, if we take this book, this nucleus of power, and we read it, and we study it, and we, before we do that, open ourselves to put on the mind that was in the writer when the writer wrote the book, we will get from the book whatever we are supposed to get from the book, and maybe one line. When we study this whole book, and one line may claim you and own you and change you forever. That's what's in store for us all. You know Einstein's equation? Yes. So matter and energy equals, or matter and form equals energy. I mean spirit. I mean energy and matter equals, I don't know what I'm saying. You just get the drift, yes. So, we live in a material and an immaterial world, except the immaterial world is not a world, it's just a state of being. It's a substance of being. It's an energy, it's a force, it's a power. And that's what spirit is, an energy, a force, and a power, and an action. And so, since we are created out of that first cause, the originator of it all, the great unmoved mover, one of the oldest expressions for spirit or God, we are of its substance because it didn't have any other substance to make us out of. There was no bit of something floating by one day and God said, oh, that looks interesting, I could make something out of that. There they are, we'll call them human beings. So, we are created out of God's stuff. And the way we're created is through this thing called life, this thing called spirit, this thing called the infinite, contemplating upon itself. In other words, in activity with its own consciousness. And out of that activity in its own consciousness comes an idea. The idea is humanity, and here we are. Now, the infinite, not that the infinite gets an idea the way you and I get an idea at all. It's not like that. Not that the infinite speaks its word the way you and I speak its word. With the infinite, everything is instant. It's not sitting around waiting to have an idea so it can move on it, turn it into something. It's something that's instantaneous that happens just like that. So everything is converged into one, the substance, the idea, and the action upon it happens just like that. So, one thing. It's not 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4 step, 30 steps, 6 steps, 9 steps, 10 steps. It's not a process. It's an instant happening. So, since you and I are the image and the likeness of the creator of our being, the way we are the image and the likeness of the creator of our being is in the breath of ourselves, in the soul of ourselves, in the eternality of ourselves, in the invisible aspect of our being, in the essence and the energy of ourselves. That's how we're like the creator of our being. It has nothing to do with the form that we have. Out of the essence and the substance, the form is created. And who knows why we have this process of evolution? Nobody has ever described it to me in a way that makes sense. So for me, it's indescribable, but that's the way it is. It's just the way it is. I mean, little kids will say, oh, why didn't God make things differently? Why did He make everybody good? Why did we have to have this thing called evolution? Couldn't God just make us finished and done and perfect and so on? Because they ask good questions, children do. I was one of them. We do have evolution, and because of evolution, we have differentiation. We have diversity in this unity. That is the one thing. And consciousness is what everything is. So, another name for what we call God is unconditioned and unconditional consciousness. Infinite consciousness, cosmic consciousness, beyond understanding consciousness, beyond human understanding consciousness. So, out of consciousness everything flows. Now, there is only the one consciousness and all of us are in it. There's only one mind and all of us are in it. So there's no my mind, your mind, their mind, those minds over there. It's each one of us in the one mind, but all of us using it differently. There's the difference. All of us thinking into it differently. And how we think into the one mind affects the one mind. Just look at race conscious mind at the moment and you see how most of us are thinking in the world today. Because what we have in the world today is the result of our collective consciousness. So therefore, consequently, there's no such thing as an insignificant thought. All thought is significant because all thought is effective and all thought is moving upon the collective consciousness or the collective thought and is changing it in some way. It may be changing it for the better or for the worse in some way. So, Troward in the first chapter of the book talks about spirit and he talks about matter, and he breaks spirit down into that which is abstract, that which is unconditioned, and that which is absolute. This would be the aspect of life as spirit as that which is unchangeable and never changes. The unmoved mover. God the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, always the same. that over here you have form or matter. And this is linked to the evolutionary process. And matter, form, comes out of consciousness, comes out of spirit, comes out of the abstract, comes out of the unconditioned, and comes out of the absolute. So in a way, you could say the creator is the artist, and what the creator produces is its art. And every great piece of art once existed in the mind of the artist. Then it appeared in form as a piece of the artist's self, soul. But the art is the art and it's not the artist. So I cannot know the artist through one piece of its art, or even looking at all its pieces of art. I can have a sense, but I cannot say I fully comprehend or know the artist through its art. I can have a sense of it, but not fully. But see, the artist, as we know, can create a piece of art and then change it. Reform it, reshape it, recolor it. As we've seen, many of the great artists who are painters, when they have been cleaning some of the ancient pieces, they've seen different drawings underneath that the artist changed. Potters are all the time changing what they're doing, and so on. So the artist is that which decides and designs the art and brings it into form. And owns it. And in each piece of art there's a piece of the artist. Part of the artist's soul goes into the art. Whether I'm a writer, whether I'm a dancer, whether I'm a painter, whether I'm a sculptor, whether I'm a musician, whatever. Part of me, my soul, myself is in what I'm producing. Not the all of me, but the some of me. So matter and form then is that which is concrete, that which is conditioned, and that which is relative. This spirit here, which is abstract, also invisible, visible, this is outside of time and space, in time and space, which creates its conditions. So here you have form and matter that exists in time and space because it has to have time and space to be in form. Form needs space to move through and to be differentiated in. And it needs time too. It needs a time frame as well to work with the form that it's given and allow the form that it is to do the job that it came to do. Like seed, I will become a flower or a tree or whatever, and I need time for that to happen. So I exist in time and I exist in space because I am matter, I am form. Here, as spirit, I am outside of time and form. There's no need for time and form. For me, I'm always now. There's only now. There's only here. There's only now. There's no past. There's no future. There's no need for space because I occupy everything that is space and beyond that. I'm an energy. I'm an energy, I'm a force, I'm a power. And all of this is available to this. This can use this to transform this. Does that make sense? Yeah. And this is just a very quick dip into this first chapter.
I love what Michelangelo said about the creation of David. He said, David was there, I simply removed the excess money.
That's right. And somebody else who created a great angel said the angel was within me and needed to be expressed through me. Everything that is in your life is in your life because you gave it access to be in your life. You allowed it to be in your life. You allowed it to become a condition in your life. You see. And so the realm of form creates the opportunity for conditions. But if I identify myself with this aspect of my being, I can change any condition I want to change. And that's the way we do it in spiritual mind treatment. We take our mind off the conditions and we identify with this. We identify with ourselves as spirit. That's all we're doing in prayer. We're leaving this aside. We're stepping out of this because we can. We open the portal that we all have that allows us to enter out of the realm of matter and into the realm of spirit, which is the vast part of us, which is unlimited. It's the greatest, when we say there's a powerful good in the universe greater than we are and we can use it, that greatness is in me already. It's not just out there, it's in me. And it's the greatness in me that I access, not the greatness out there, it's the greatness in me that I'm accessing when I am identifying myself with the true essence of my being, and I'm allowing myself, as Emerson would say, to think from life's highest point of view. I don't stay down there in the basement. I go to the penthouse on top where I have a great view, where the view is only available to me. In the basement I can't see anything, only what's in the basement. And no matter how good the stuff in the basement is, it's just, that's the end of my perspective. I can't see beyond it. So that's what you and I are doing all the time. We're endeavoring to make ourselves move on up to the penthouse. And when we get to the penthouse, we can realize further that even the penthouse can't hold us. I can have my jaunting belt and be wherever I want to be when I want to be there. When you look at this, what does it say to you? What questions does it bring up in your mind, or what does it make you think?
To me, it's the difference between being Christed on the right and being consciously Christed on the left.
That's right. Yeah, it's the difference between awake and not being awake, or semi-awake, or a little awake, or totally sleeping. The choice is yours, it always has been. The choice is mine, it always has been. But we didn't know it. We didn't know it because that's not what most of us came up in an atmosphere of. Most of us came up being told what our limitations. No, you can't do that. First thing a child learns is no. That's why they have these little bibs now. Have you seen them? Little bibs that go on children and it says, my name is no, 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 no. I've seen those bibs. You see. So, would that all parents have this consciousness, this awareness of who and what they are so that they could bring that forth in their small children at a very early age and affirm that in their children at a very, very early age. But that matter's not for you and for me, because I often hear people say, oh, I wish I'd come to this earlier. You know what? You came to it when you decided to come to it. It was your own decision to come to it whenever you came to it, and it's fine. It's good. It's okay. And all you're coming to is back to yourself, like the prodigal son. Love that line. It's my most favorite line in all of Scripture. He came to himself. He came to himself. He picked himself up out of the muck and the mire. And he stood up tall and he said, I am my father's son. I will return unto my father. I will say to my father, Father, I am no longer worthy to be your son. Let me be a servant in your household. He was willing to punish himself. What did the father do? He just received him like his beloved son, whom he had never stopped loving and hadn't changed his mind about, not an iota. Now we have to think of ourselves as the father thought about his wayward son, to get a sense of who and what we are. We have to stop berating ourselves for our past failings and wickedness and sinfulness and debauchery and everything else that we might have conjured up. And get over it. And let it be. Leave it where it belongs behind us. So that we can embrace the now moment and the true essence of our being right here and right now. Because we can. See, all the time when we're thinking of ourselves as wicked sinners and crawling on our knees saying, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. Nobody was listening. There wasn't a God listening to that. Why? Because Spirit knows nothing of lack or limitation or wrongness. Spirit knows nothing of that. Spirit is looking at his creation saying, oh God, did I do a great job? My God, the apple of my eye. How magnificent, how marvelous, how awesome. And when you and I have the same sense of ourselves that Spirit has of us, we will not need to strive or struggle or take one more class. We will become the teachers through the way we live our lives and through our example, through the emanations and the vibrations, the essence of our being. We will no longer need to teach or be taught. We'll just be. The sun will have been turned on, and that's all there is to it. Now there is this thing, of course, about in form, we're having animate and inanimate objects. In form, there are animate, inanimate objects. Animate things, plants and flowers and trees and animals and human beings and all of that. Inanimate, floors and chairs and stones and any amount of things you can think of. Well, guess what? There's no such thing as an inanimate object. Life fills everything. Life moves through everything. Life pulsates in everything. Energy is in everything. This table is a massive movement. Bazillions of atoms orbiting in space, millions of atoms in its own orbit and spaces in between. Liquid to the infinite eye, of course. The floor has its own energy. The table has its own energy. The chair has its own energy. The only difference is frequency. Frequency. The higher the frequency, the greater the conscious awareness. The lower the frequency, less conscious awareness, but nevertheless, life, fullness. Degree. It's about the degree. There is no differentiation between me and my Creator, except in one way. Degree. The degree of my consciousness as compared with the degree of the consciousness of that which created me. So all things are living. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. And very quickly do this. Just choose something from this, one thing from this tray. Quickly. Quickly, or we won't get this done. You're not to think about it. This is an inanimate object. Okay, hold it and close your eyes. Hold it and close your eyes. You want to pick one, Reverend Scott?
Sure.
Let that object's life speak to you. Let it reveal itself to you. Close your eyes and think about that object and let it speak to you. Let its energy find you, speak to you, say something of itself to you, share something of itself with you. Be one with the object. Be open to what it has to share with you. Because you chose it, it wants to share something with you. It has a life, and it's sharing something of that life with you now. Bless the object. Thank the object. Receive the object as a gift that marks the beginning of your journey into this adventure called a deeper realization of truth. It is your cornerstone. You're laying the foundation. It is your corner object laying the foundation. Now come back into the room and quickly write down what the stone revealed to you. so if you have something else to add to that, you can later on. And the stoneway or the pencil or whatever it was you took, piece of glass, it may continue to speak to you, so keep the dialogue open. And you can record what you're getting from the piece that you chose. And we are to conclude now, and I would invite us all, please, to engage into something consciously every single day of our lives that connects us more deeply and intimately with our source. People call it spiritual practice, but I'm just saying whatever it is that gets you connected more deeply and consciously with the source of your being, and that frees in you all of that amazing love stuff that we're loaded with and are miserably miserly with, whatever that is, please make sure that you do that. And not just once in the day, but throughout the day. I consciously and deliberately make myself, as soon as I open my eyes, recognize what a gift it is to be in a day. And how marvelous it is to have the privilege of serving. And at night, I make sure that I fall asleep with gratitude deep within me, and singing those praises and the song of gratitude or whatever that is, and then giving myself up and blessing myself going into the blessed sleep and wonderful energy of night that is restorative and is inspiring and all of that. And throughout the day, tuning in, feeling good about knowing I don't have to do all of this myself, because if I did, I'd be in trouble, and so would everybody else. And so being grateful for that power and that presence of the Lord within me. So that's mostly your homework, as well as the study, the application of the principles, and so on and so forth. And when you are studying Troward, as you are, and a question arises, or something you don't quite understand, again, jot it down, write it down, and we'll discuss it in class next week. Are there any questions before we conclude? Yes.
At the conclusion of the class, could everybody help? We're going to bring the chairs. We'll just bring the chairs to the rear.
The chairs, if we could all pick up our chairs, and we'd be very grateful if we didn't drag them, but that we pick them up and leave them at the back of the room. It would be a great help to Alex, our custodian. And we are going to pause for 1 minute of silence and blessing. Your own blessing, I want you to say your own affirmation, to be quiet if you want to, but to give gratitude and give thanksgiving to your great, wonderful, amazing, divine substance, your own higher power. Acknowledge it, be grateful, thankful, and whatever else arises in your mind. And so it is, and there you are, and off you go into a beautiful night, embracing the sleep that is your friend,